And now we have Alan Jordan from BookBuzz with us in studio. Alan, good morning.
Hi Ian, how are you?
This week's book, Talent is Overrated, asked by Jeff Colvin. What's this about?
Yeah, it's a whole exposure on just what is talent and how do you make it work. And again, we work from the experience of, oh yeah, sure, that person was born with it. They had the gift. There's nothing I can do with it. So really, Colvin is saying, no, that's not the case. There's a growing body of scientific research shows that this isn't so. We aren't born with a gift. These specific natural abilities don't explain great performance. Instead, the key is what researchers call deliberate practice. But you've got to be aware there, because it isn't what most of us do when we think we're practicing. It's a well-defined set of activities that world-class performers pursue diligently. So, more of it equals better performance. Tons of it equals great performance.
I take it he looks at the figures in the sporting world and business world?
Yeah, a couple of very good analogies now. We're a bit away from Wimbledon, but to give you one example. If you take a top-ranked tennis player like Andy Roddick, his serve is about 150 miles an hour. So to equate that in time, from the time the ball leaves his service racket to the time it strikes the receiver's line is about a quarter of a second. So you'd have to say, okay, the person receiving that must have tremendous reaction time to get that service back. Yes, they do. So really, if we work on the reaction time, they'll get better. The problem with reaction time is it works on the 80-20 principle. There's only so much you can do on it. After that, then, you've got to find something else, the missing ingredient, the deliberate practice. So actually, they did a lot of surveys and reports of this, so they hooked up guys and all sorts of paraphernalia to their eyes to see what they were looking at. And what you'll find is that average tennis players and performers will look at the ball, whereas the top people will look at the person's body, shoulders, hips, what way they're going to serve. And that's the deliberate practice that makes them a better performer. Now, the difficulty we have is that if you and I want to go out and play tennis tomorrow, we just couldn't start looking at people's hips and shoulders that we'll be better reaction time. It takes a lot of practice. Now, the key is, how do you apply that back into business?
And it's just covering ground that Malcolm Gladwell covered in Outliers, that people, there are these talented people out there who spend a lot of time practicing and they have this little extra that we all don't have.
Yeah, I mean, Gladwell touches on the same point that Jeff covers in his book here, which is this 10,000 hour rule. So for you to become an expert or proficient in something, you've got to have done 10,000 hours of practice, which 3 hours a day is about 10 years. So they're both on the same line there. Where they diverge a bit is, Gladwell worked on the basis that actually talent was a little bit intrinsic. It was to do with your environment. It was to do with your parents, where you were brought up, what you're exposed to. What Colvin is saying, he's saying, look, talent doesn't have a ceiling. It can actually be developed, but you need to know how to go about doing it.
Should any of our bankers who have been criticised this week have looked at this book before, or have taken some of the
when I was reading this book, I said,
on board?
This is an antidote to Patrick Nyberg's report, because if you take Nyberg, as one commentator said yesterday, it was a bit of a psychology report he'd written, because he was talking about mania, herding, groupthink, and also systematic crisis, but also that people were blatantly ignored. So what Talent is Overrated looks at, it says, hey, you've got to listen to your people, because you'll benefit as a business from it.
And does it give any advice for businesses as to how to spot these individuals, how to spot the gems out there?
I think what it does is it says that, look, if you've got the core competencies in the people, and that's important, you've got the right abilities on board, it's the development of it afterwards. And what organisations are singularly failing to do is to develop that, because typically people might get a performance review once a year if they're lucky, every 6 months. But some of that is not necessarily business focus, it's person focus. So it's what you did wrong, what you're not doing right. And then also, Ian, if you don't do this better next week, you could be fired the following month. So they're a little bit negative. So a huge amount of work has got to be done on that side. And just one final kind of side, if you look at some of the top CEOs, American Express, other companies in the US, they're saying now 50% of their time is devoted to people and developing their people.
Rather than sitting in front of their computer screen looking at the numbers.
Absolutely. So this book would be fantastic for the Newstalk team, Ian. Do you know why? Because inside, who is the talent here in Newstalk? Is it Ian? Is it Chris? We all know that Ivan thinks he's a talent. So you guys will love reading this book. You'll get a huge amount out of it.
Alan Jordan from BookBuzz, thank you very much. Now, let's go to the market.